welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm doing another Vegas live vintage cube by Ultimate Guard, 64-person qualifier. Everybody, all 64 members of this tournament went 4-0 with cube to get in here. They drafted last weekend, went 4-0, got an entry to this. The prizes for this event are nothing. First place gets to play in the top 8 this Saturday, and everyone else, thanks for showing up. Nice try. The winners of the weekly top 8 event get to draft a vintage cube where they keep all the cards at MagicCon Vegas later this year. This is my second attempt at a 64. I qualified. I went 4-0 twice during the feeder leagues, so I got to play in 2 of these. My last run ended in the finals of the first pod. Hoping to do a little better today. Let's draft some vintage cube. The first pack, there is no Power 9 here. There is Hullbreacher, which is just a phenomenal card. Drawing cards is a big part of many strategies in the cube, and it goes crazy with any sort of Wheel of Fortune time twister effect, which there are 4 or 5 of. I think 5 if you count Memory Jar. It's kind of the worst of them, but I'm pretty happy to get a Hullbreacher. My pod has Luis Salvato in it. Mid-Determinist. I recognize that username, but I don't know who they actually are in real life. And a bunch of other usernames I don't recognize. But like I said, everyone in these pods are good. Or at least good enough to go draft and go 4-0. What do I want on the wheel here? Probably not going to see Dressed Out. Deep Cavern Bat's not coming back. Lotus Cobra. Sylvan Caryatid. I don't really want any of these cards back. That's embarrassing. Like, Beza and Deep Cavern Bat are the other 2 cards in this pack that I think are really good. Figure of Destiny is fine. Alright. I did just send big white signals down the line, though. Okay. Atraxa is another phenomenal build-around. She works with Reanimator, Show and Tell, Flash, and Natural Order, and Sneak Attack. The other card in this pack that I would seriously consider is Chain Lightning. Just 1 mana efficient removal. It goes wherever you need it to go. Lightning Bolt was a perfect design in Alpha, and the Chain Lightning is damn near Lightning Bolt. Inti's also really good. But if I'm shipping, I just sent a pack with Beza and Figure of Destiny down the path, and if Inti and Chain Lightning go down, we might get to, and Ajani's here too, we might get to Trainwreck 2 Boros drafters. Like, they'll end up fighting each other downstream. Carnosaur's here too, that card's fine. Underground Sea is good, but it's not better than Atraxa. I have 2 build-arounds to start my draft. That is exactly when I would want to have them. Okay, here we go. Animate Dead, one of the most powerful cards in the queue. With Animate Dead, you don't even need setup. Creatures will just die or get countered as the game goes on, and you could get them back. But if you can set it up, I have an Atraxa in my pool already. Fire Confluence, a phenomenal card. Somebody downstream, let those red and white drafters fight over this shit. Haven Interrupter, Fire Confluence. If the people downstream from me are reading the signals, there's like 1.5 good Boros decks. Virtual Persistence is a card I like. Show and Tell's here. Show and Tell is a wonky one because it's obviously insanely powerful, but if nobody's in the deck, this could go last pick. So I might get that Show and Tell back. Wishful thinking. Bloodstained Mire, Bone Crusher Giant, True Name Nemesis, Snapcaster Mage, Bone Crusher Giant, Rock Solid 2 for 1 all day. Again, let the Boros Bloodbath happen downstream. True Name Nemesis. Getting Animate Dead 3rd pick and True Name Nemesis 4th pick. These are really good cards to be going that late. Like, 2nd pick, maybe there was power in the pack and you just take what's there. But there weren't 3 pieces of power in this pack, and I think I'm willing to read this as a signal. Malcolm Rules. Collective Brutality is a duress that can also put a creature in my graveyard to reanimate. Malcolm is a flash threat, and one of the archetypes that blue has in the cube is leave your mana up, counter if they do something, and flash in a threat if they don't. Malcolm does all of that. Shadowrange Archfiend is cool with looters and with reanimate. but I think this will wheel. Nobody's going to want this thing. I barely want this, and I'm in the archetype. Yeah, I'm going to take Malcolm. Barrogoyf, absolute unit. Upheaval is really good if you have fast mana to redeploy after you upheaval and break the parity of it. It's really bad if you just spend 6 mana and then play a land to pass the turn. Kappa is an artifact payoff. I have 0 artifacts right now. I think I want Barrogoyf. This also fuels the graveyard. When it connects, you mill that many cards, and that can put junk in the graveyard to reanimate. Vintage Cube these days is a lot more about curving out, applying pressure, or applying disruption than it is about setting up a giant upheaval turn. Just cards are better now, creatures are better, curves fill out better. Subtlety is phenomenal. Exactly what I want, fits that leave up interaction, flash at a creature if they don't thing. Doomsday wheeling around, that's really hard to make work. The Magic Online Vintage Cube is a 540 cube, which means that not every card even gets opened. In a 360, maybe you could take Doomsday on spec, but it's certainly not better than Subtlety. I would even take Mishra's Bauble over it. But if you draft Doomsday and like Thassa's Oracle doesn't even get opened, nice pick, idiot. Kitsa is one of the best looters there's ever been. Vig, prowess, just straight up looter, and then if it has power 3 or greater, you can copy an instant or sorcery. Baleful Strix is a card that I like just fine, but it's not better than Kitsa. This is the pack I won't see again. Dig Through Time, also good if you have a bunch of looters, but I want the looter before I want the dig. I understand this is a mythic rare compared to a common, but also look at this card compared to Merfolk Looter, which is also a card that used to be a Vintage Cube. Same cost, better stats, 2 additional combat abilities, and more words. Oh wow, nobody took the figure or the commando. Dress Down is the card here for my deck. Yeah, I'm not gonna try to make Omnath where I'm nowhere near green. Eureka is not really what I want to be doing with Atraxa. Eureka's really dangerous, and it's cost double G. I'll just take the blue card and send that signal downstream. The Beza was gone out of that pack, though. Oh, somebody's touching powerful white cards. Duelist of the Mind, Carnosaur, Urborg. Duelist of the Mind is a looter, but I think it's actually like kind of bad. Though it is also a wheel payoff. If I have Hull Breacher and Duelist, if I get a Time Twister that's like clap for 9 and also you have no hand, is a combo versus Carnosaur, which puts me into a 3rd color but is a removal spell and entombs itself. I think this is better. Cards like Harvester of Misery and Trumpeting Carnosaur that dump themselves in the graveyard for reanimation shenanigans just have so much more going on than it appears on the surface. And immediately a dual land that pays out my splash, or I could take Mana Confluence that does all 3. It does hurt in some matchups. I have Barrogoyf for lifelink. I think Confluence is better. That even gives me live outs to cast Atraxa. Snapcaster Mage on the wheel. My goodness. I think blue might be open, team. And I'm in it. Dress Down is a sideboard card, a maybe right now, just filler, or if my opponent is super creature-centric, where they have a bunch of ways to make constructs, like Urza and Karn and stuff, it comes in there. We did wheel the Archfiend, called that one. Guardian Scale Lord still wheeling around. I have 2 looters at the moment for Archfiend, and they both cost 2. This does just curve straight in. I think they designed this with 3 mana on purpose. Spellbomb is at least in my color. Not the interaction I'm looking for, but there are artifact synergies. If I open something like Tinker, that's useful. If I open a Luris, I can just cast it for black. I'm not going to be a Luris companion deck, but just black, 1, get a Luris. With Dress Down and Spellbomb, it could happen. I wouldn't take it highly, though. I'm base blue at the moment, and I need some fixing before I'm really happy with anything else. Got the Doomsday on spec. Let's go. I actually do like Cube Doomsday decks when they come together. They're just so hard to come together. There is a run on my channel of me drafting Doomsday a lot. It was like 2 or 3 iterations of the online cube ago when they first introduced Doomsday as a supported archetype, and I was jamming this thing early in packs, just trying to make it happen. But in an expert pod with tens of thousands of dollars on the line, I'm not doing that. Okie dokie, we've got JVP, one of the best looters. That would give me 3 looters. I could probably chill on those once I have that. Fable is a phenomenal looter. I'm already kind of touching red. I actually think Fable is a better card than Jace, but Jace is costs less and is in my core colors. Snapcaster Mage came back around. Ooh, that I may have just teased myself with saying Snapcaster Mage came back around. There's also Shallow Grave in the pack, which I generally find to be the worst reanimation spell, but it is a reanimation spell. I don't think it's better for me than Jace or Fable. I'd love this Watery Grave, but I'm not taking it over a real card. What I would hate to do is send Jace as a blue signal and somebody picks up and gets in my colors, but I do just think Fable's better. And now I'm really incentivized to support red. It's not just a trumpeting Carnosaur off of Mana Confluence anymore. Jace the Mind Sculptor, Exhume, Miscalculation, Hedge Maze. This Blood Crypt is exactly what I just said I need, but Miscalculation is so good. Exhume is super risky. You have to be doing something better than them. Like, if you loot Exhume, it's probably fine, or Entomb Exhume, it's fine. But if you just draw Exhume on, like, turn 7, where you've both traded off a lot, they're going to have good stuff too, and they get the first attack. I think I want Miscalculation. Like I said, flash threats, leave up mana, counter their spell, or flash something in. The 2-mana counter spells are the things that make that archetype possible. Volcanic Island is kind of the nuts here. Inquisition of Kozilek, shit, that's good. Okay, we are in the common cube squeeze of take the card that is actually phenomenal for the deck, or take the card that makes your spells kind of castable. With Bitter Triumph and Inquisition in the pack, do I think there's 2 black drafters? I'd be happy with either of these, actually. And Oliphant also is red fixing. Could grab this Volcanic Island. It's 3 cards I'd be happy to wheel. Path, Extruder are definitely being taken. Larcenist is fine. And Tuco, if anyone's in it, they're going to want it. I'm going to take the Volk. Just to make sure I can cast my spells, though that did hurt. Flash, 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 the nuts. Okay, here we go. Now we're cooking. Flashing in Atraxa is really good. Flashing in Carnosaur is fine. Flashing in this is a removal spell. Flashing in any of them, put them in the graveyard so you can reanimate them. Cards I'd like to wheel out of this pack. Otawara, I guess. It's not much for me here. I could sideboard into Oath if I support green somehow, but alright, I'm taking Flash and I'm very happy about it. Mana Leak, let's go. This is a crazy late Mana Leak. That Snapcaster on the wheel that I said quite a blue signal, that Pickflower, True Name Nemesis that I said quite a blue signal, I think it's all bearing out. This is a great Mana Leak and I will be taking it. At the moment, I have 2 powerful red cards and 2 ways to cast them. If I get that Oliphant back, or if I just find 1 fetch land that can grab Volcanic Island, I'll be comfortable with my situation. Though I am almost as red as I am black here. Animate Dead is my only really essential black card. I could end up Izzet with a black splash instead of Dimir with a red. Or just go full Grixis. The draft is young. It could come together. Okay. Important time to make a decision. Toxic Deluge, phenomenal sweeper. Gitaxian Probe, phenomenal just card for any deck. If I pivot onto Izzet, if I'm just like big Izzet with a black splash, Chandra's really good. K-Commander Coalition Relic, I wouldn't hate playing either of those, but I'm not going to take them. I think it's Deluge. There will be decks, especially like I've said, that red deck, that white deck, they're kicking around. Probably multiple people fighting over it, though Chandra this late, red, might not be getting drafted the way I thought it would be. Fiery Islet, Time Spiral. Fiery Islet is an on-color duel, but Time Spiral, I have the Hull Breacher. And this is one you could just cast without setup. You don't want to just go like land drop, land drop, land drop, Wheel of Fortune, because then your opponent gets the first crack at the new cards, but Time Spiral resets everything and you get the first mana. I believe this is worth taking, though I would like the Fiery Islet. I get 1 card from this pack back. It's not going to be Fiery Islet. Time Warp, Frantic Search. I believe this is Frantic Search. I do love taking extra turns. Kaito is also a looter. Kaito's a looter that feeds a control plan better, but Frantic Search feeds a go nuts, solve the problem right now plan better. I'm going to take Search. Moment of Truth on Jace Fern's Prodigy. Fingers crossed. Didn't get Jace back, but Watery Grave, Shallow Grave, and Vendilion Click. Wowie zowie. I'm not taking Vendilion Click. It's Shallow Grave or Watery Grave. Shallow Grave only brings back the top creature of your graveyard, but I could manipulate that. Once again, good mana versus solid card for the deck. I think with Flash, I become more interested in Shallow Grave. All right, sorry, Watery Grave. Mana might be a trick here. Pack 3, I'll make it a priority, but Watery Grave and Underground Sea are both out of the draft already. Edgemaze, Jace, Exhume, Imperial Seal. It's Imperial Seal or Exhume for me. Seal's pretty slow. Exhume, I do get to pick whatever I want, and now I have Frantic Search and Fable and 2 Looters. All right, I'll just take the Reanimate cards, even the kind of lower end ones. I'm going to officially move these to my sideboard. I have 20 cards here, not counting lands, so I need 3 or 4 more playables, and then I can afford to build out my mana base. And Dress Down is literally playable. You can just put it in your deck, and it's fine. So I need 2 more playables, and make my mana a little better. Oliphant on the wheel. Okay, I think red is just completely open. Legion Extruder is actually a good card. But Oliphant's great. It's not an embarrassing reanimate target. It gets the Volcanic Island for colorless. Now we're doing it. I think Gush is just a bad card in this context of the cube. Gush is obviously a good card. But I'm going to put Oath in my sideboard just in case that becomes a thing. If I cut Snapcaster Malcolm, Kitsa, bring in Oath in a certain matchup, Oath could hit Hullbreacher, True Name, Barrogoyf, Subtlety, and then Chungos. I don't have that many low-end creatures. I could board them out or just be okay hitting them. Probably not going to do that, but if I have an opponent who's hyper-aggressive, it's worth exploring. Bayou casts Oath. Have that in the maybe pile. Have a little access to green now. Wowie. Gitaxian Probe on the wheel, and K-Command was also in that pack, but I want the Probe. Probe isn't just a 39-card deck, though it is also that. It's information, and good players looking at your opponent's hand is busted. Speaking of busted, Minsky Boo is in this pack. I do have access to green and red. Fable makes treasures. Counterspell is phenomenal. Itali's really good with my Flash and other stuff. Mystic Confluence is phenomenal. I think Counterspell is the safest thing. I'm not a very good Mana Vault deck, actually. I'm not really jumping to 5 in a way that is important. Emperor of Bones is another Shallow Grave effect that I don't hate. I generally want Spellseeker when I have Ancestral Recall or Time Walk. Fastbond Minsky Boo. I'm not close to Fastbond. I think I'm going to take Counterspell, and I'd like to wheel Itali, Emperor, Mystic Confluence, or Darkslick Shores. But that cheap interaction, I'm just going to take it. Fabled Passage goes a long way to smooth me out. Underworld Breach is in this pack now, and I do have Frantic Search, which means I could get through a lot of my deck on a Breach turn. Not really in the market for a Displacer Kitten, though Flickering Atraxa, Carnosaur, Archfade are all pretty messed up. Flickering Fable, okay, I mean, I do have a lot of spells. Stern Scolding is fine, cheap interaction. Fabled Passage is that mana smoothing that I think I actually need here. Given how this draft has gone with the disrespect for blue and red cards, we might very well see Breach Kitten and or Stern Scolding again. I'm going to take the mana. Pest Infestation in this pack, but there's also a Sneak Attack, and I am in red. There's also a Duress. I really want Duress. Do I think I'm more likely to wheel Duress or Sneak Attack? I think I'm more likely to wheel Duress. I mean, Sneak Attack is so unique and so good. I have 4 things I'm really happy to shove in. Okay, I'll take Sneak Attack. Other cards for this pack. Obviously, I want Duress back. I would take Unholy Heat, but that probably won't make it. Pest Infestation will be gone. Ghostfire Slice is a card I could play. 3PI is a card I could play. Badlands, World Spineworm. And Badlands does everything the deck needs to do. World Spineworm, phenomenal with Sneak Attack and Flash. Seasoned Pyromancer, another looter, but I'm not close to casting a double red spell. Will people take World Spineworm, is the question. We did see, I got a second to last pick Bayou last pack with Watery Grave in the pack before it. I think casting my spells is going to be my job at this point, but frickin' A, this World Spineworm is exactly what my deck wants. Thundering Falls, Life Death, Brain Freeze, that Breach is kicking around somewhere, and I have and I'm taking Life Death, but I am aware that Breach and Brain Freeze are both now in the draft. Master of Death is kind of bad. Grief is really good. Firebolt's also really good. But I I did have to pass on Inquisition and Duress earlier in the draft, which means that just some amount of hand poke is something I want. I'm really bad on removal, though. I kind of have to counter their spells and then go over the top of them. Like, there's not a Fatal Push or Snuff Out to be seen in this deck. And with the Bayou, I could play that, and that turns on life, which is not nothing. Sometimes you just need to get 2 or 3 extra damage across. Preacher, Yogwill, Daze, Thought Scour. I mean, if there's the Thought Scour deck, it's me. I'm also a pretty good Daze deck. Yogwill is, like, fine for later. Trips Titan, another Reanimator, another Flasher. I already have 3 really good ones. I also have Snapcaster Mage in my deck. Yeah, I think I want Thought Scour. Jace Wielder, Dark Ritual, what's up? Lotus Petal. Dark Ritual does a lot for me here. I love a Dark Ritual. Okay, let's see what came back around. This pack 1 was so good for me. Itali came back. That might be a good indicator for Worldspine Worm as well. And I'm really glad I didn't take that Triplicate Titan a minute ago, because now I would have cut it for Itali, and now I have both the other thing and the Itali. Stern Scolding, Expressive Iteration are my reasonable calls here. I think Stern Scolding, I have a bunch of ways to move cards around, but not a lot of ways to deal with creatures. Unholy Heat, wow. I didn't expect that to come back around. I've been talking about how I don't have any removal. I think that's way better than Third Plus, Iconoclast. Yeah, 1 mountain in this deck does the thing, got the Spine Worm back. That probably means that one of these monsters is out of the deck. Spine Worm really only works for Flash. Oh shit, I passed Spellseeker twice. I was talking about Time Walk. I would have loved a Spellseeker for Flash. I think there were better cards in the pack both times I saw it, but I did actually, that was a bit of a bleed. I didn't see the whole picture for a second. Yeah, Spellseeker for Flash is plenty good enough. Master of Death is in my colors and could be a card I play. I don't know. Probably not, though. But I'm definitely not playing the other card that was in that pack. And I got Yogwill on the sideboard if I need to go again. Okay, let's assess the situation. I have 32 cards. That's too many. I have too many monsters. I think Archfiend is the worst one. Worldspine Worm I can't reanimate, but I can sneak and flash. And I can Shallow Grave it. My counter spells are actually really phenomenal. My reanimation package, or monster package overall, really insane too. Kind of grouping cards by their job right now. Disruption, looters, payoffs, or enablers and payoffs. Enablers and payoffs here. And then we are left with, these are the cards that are kind of just chilling. I have Badlands, Mana Confluence, Volcanic Island, Fabled Passage. I'll play 1 mountain. That's 4 red sources for 1, 2, 3 actual red cards. I want double red the turn I sneak attack, so they can't remove it. Oliphant might not be necessary. Toxic Deluge could be a sideboard card. Stern Scolding could be a sideboard card. I was excited about this Dark Ritual, but I'm much bluer than I thought I was. Or maybe not that I thought I was, but bluer than that really wants. Like, ritualing out Grief is probably the best thing I can do. I don't have to spiral if I have all this other top end. Like, I don't need to play to a spot where Hullbreacher is lights out. I could just play Hullbreacher as a creature. And that leaves these cards left. What are my actual creatures? Okay, Life Death, Animate, Exhume, Shallow Grave. I think Shallow Grave is the worst of these. Unholy Heat is on the splash, but it's really good. And I have this whole package, this Stern Scolding, Unholy Heat, Dark, Toxic Deluge, if my opponent's really coming for me. I have 2 cantrips, which could let me cheat on lands a little bit. Black cards to enable Grief is 6 right now. Plan is mostly to cast that, but if I have an extra black card on the turn, I want to Animate Dead something that makes that really easy. It will be worth the squeeze. Carnosaur being a removal spell in addition to all the other stuff. Like, this is not in this pile. It's actually more like in this pile or my interaction pile. I need at least 1 more cut, and I probably want 2. Yeah, maybe Subtlety. It plays the Flash game, but I talked about the Flash game for a pack and a half and then ended up in such this insane Sneak and Reanimator pile. Maybe I just don't need to be doing that. And by flash, I mean instant speed, because I also have the card flash. Okay, 2 2-mana looters, 2 cantrips. That makes me think I can survive on 16 lands, and I need one more cut here. I'm looking at Grief. I'm looking at Carnosaur. I'm looking at Shallow Grave. Feel like it's Shallow Grave. And that one can get a big, surprising swing out of something like Atraxa and really flip a race. But, I mean, we're talking about... I have all these other creatures in the deck. Like, if they just kill my Snapcaster Mage, or I evoke Grief, now Shallow Grave doesn't work. Okay, I think I talked myself out of it. I'm not going to try to cast Atraxa or World Spideworm. Thanks for trying Magic Online. 1 mountain is fine. I'm base blue. 9 blue sources here. I still get to add another land here, too. 7 black sources. Getting the first looter or first counterspell online, I think, is job number 1. 5 red sources. Though if I cut a other creature for Oliphant, that adds my reanimate targets and ups my mana and lets me keep 16 lands. And maybe this Grief is just out, because Oliphant fixing black or blue is really good. It always gets red, because that's what Oliphant does, and then my 2 base colors are both accessible via dual lands. I really like that Grief, but I do appear to have built a mono blue deck that looks like its other colors because I have all this shit going on, but really these are, True Name Nemesis, Counterspell, Snap Cantrip, Snap Counterspell. That wants a lot of blue mana out of me. Okay, I think this is my deck. I'm gonna take a screenshot and go in. Let's do it.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks. And groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the draw for round 1 with a cantrip counterspell kind of hand. Opponent's on 6, and they led on a Rockrin Triome. Hull Breacher is a nice one. That is a castable spell, and plays into the flash creature or counter their spell game plan. Gross. Spellseeker, okay. Do they have the Ancestral also? How far are we going here? They just grabbed a Preordain. That's fine. Okay. It would be very surprising to me, because I saw a Spellseeker twice. It would be crazy to me if that player had Ancestral or Time Walk and just decided to let Spellseeker wheel. And it seems like they didn't actually do that. Okay, now I can hold up Counterspell and Mana Leak, and then I can bridge that into holding up Hull Breacher or whichever counterspell I didn't cast yet. On a 20-turn clock. They didn't do anything. They're representing Spelljacker, which is, I'm not going to get my spell jacked. You can't have it. And they're taking 1.5 damage per turn, and I'm taking 1. I'm actually winning this race right now, which is crazy. And with Malcolm in my hand, I'm actually just going to keep holding. Hold the line. I could double spell next turn. I'm just really worried about Spelljacker getting a 2-for-1 in this position where I feel like I am favored. Okay, they're blinking. Duelist of the Mind. I don't care about that card. Alright, Malcolm deals combat damage to a player. Well, alright, I'm still going to deploy it. Because Mana Leak is up. Is Criming optional? You may draw a card. That's so boring. Magic cards are for wusses these days. Okay, now I have Hull Breacher plus Mana Leak available. If they have Duelist of the Mind, good chance that they can draw cards. Please just slam Lorien Revealed here. That would be so sick. Notice they've also won every crypt flip since the first turn. EI is fine. What I want to do is work their resources down to a spot where I could Hull Breacher and protect it with Mana Leak. They actually do have a ton of mana over there. I milled my basic mountain, which means that Fabled Passage doesn't get it anymore. Currency Converter. That's fine. Please activate it. Alright, I'm going to jam Hull Breacher here. I have the Mana Leak up, and they have 5 mana. I can beat a 3-drop in this spot. Wow, Hull Breacher's just in. Didn't even loot in response. I love that for me. A life death. I could just get back Kitsa. They can't draw cards, so Duelist can't get any bigger, and I have Counterspell up. I don't actually know if Ganjo is in the cube. Maybe that's something I should have been aware of. Okay, I'm gonna death my Kitsa. I can't cast 2 counterspells right now anyway. And moving these cards around, either finding red or dumping the Atali are both things worth doing. Cool. They finally lost a crit flip. We're in here. I do not have, and I did not see the Reanimate or the Necromancy, but I don't see black mana on their side, so I'm just trying to think of reasons I might not dump Atali into my graveyard. And I've seen no indication that I need to be worried about that. Hey, Nathan gets in again. I'm not going to chump block with Malcolm. I'll just leave it in play. Someday. May be useful. Okay, they're just passing again. Gitaxian Probe, tell me your secrets. This is definitely worth 2 life. Whatever I've been playing around, I'm about to know what it is. Something's happening in response. Haven Interrupter. Plot is on a later turn. I could loot in response to this and see if I care what's going on. Also attack with my 2-power creature before I do anything of the sort. Alright, yeah, Interrupter's fine. You can have my probe. Would you like to commit a crime? Would you like to commit a crime? Forget about Hull Breacher? They didn't forget about Hull Breacher. Like I said, these players are solid in this event. Okay, I'm going to attack with Kitsa, because that's free to do. I don't want to trade Hull Breacher for Haven. I just feel like that is doing something right now. Draw and discard. Dump Itali. Reveal my red mana. That also makes me have double counterspell up. That also reveals a whole angle in my deck my opponent hasn't seen yet. I will trade Malcolm for Haven Interrupter if it attacks. Because Interrupter has the additional spells your opponents cast from graveyards or exile cost 2 more, and that means I can't. Probe ends up costing me 2 mana, and I would rather it be 0 mana. Jace Wielder, playing around Mana Leak. I'm going to counter that. It's just not a card I want them to have in play. We saw Breach and Freeze in the pod. Alright, I have fucking Hull Breacher in play. Why do I care about this? Oh, I should have let that resolve. That was really loose. Okay, I need to tighten up. That was a really big spew in an important spot. World Spine Worm. Okay. I think I would like to spend 2 mana to Gitaxian Probe my opponent. I want to know what's going on over there. Mystic Confluence, Brain Freeze, Esper Sentinel. Mystic Confluence confirmed. Shields are down at this exact moment. And I just drew another red source. Sick. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, right? I'm not missing anything. They could Brain Freeze me, I guess. Sneak attack. Activate. World Spine Worm. Worm, baby. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Just had to be patient, not run into their obvious Telegraph counterspell. I read it as Spelljacker, but Mystic Confluence, Cryptic Command, anything would have followed there. Okay, we saw Jace, and we saw Haven Interrupter, some creatures, interested in Subtlety. That game went so long that Grief would have been great. I didn't really feel like I was in a damage race, so Barrow-Goyf might be mid. Frantic Search is still good. Just have so many reanimates that Frantic Search just feels like it's going to be awesome most of the time. Miscalc Mana Leak. They never saw the Mana Leak. I didn't have to cast it that game. Unholy Heat seems good. Probe was great. True Name? I mean, that game wasn't really about ground combat. And I think I'd rather have just 2-for-1 dinguses like this if we're playing a control game. Stern Scolding did hit every creature that I saw that match, or that game. I will leave this here and reconsider Stern Scolding if we get a game 3. Though on curve, on the draw, okay. I am actually making that switch real quick. Stern Scolding can be out on the play, but we did see 2 drops that I care about. Alright, this looks familiar. I'm in. Rocker and Triumph, we're just playing that game again. Literally, there's Thought Scour. These are all the same cards that we started with last game. Talon Gates, the old colorless land. Okay. Currency Converter. Resolves. I'm going to scour myself and hope I hit a monster because I'm holding the Animate. The opposite. I hit a Reanimate. Andrew a Reanimate. Okay, pass. Now it's Mana Leak versus Currency Converter. I'm not favored in this exchange. They're converting currency before I'm representing Hull Breacher. It would be sick if they discarded a big idiot, though. They saw the sneak attack part of the deck. I don't think they saw a reanimate last game. Or I life deathed. Ooh. If that ends up in the graveyard, I can animate it, get my flash. And that's something. I kind of just blobbing out here. I still have Mana Leak this turn, Snap Mana Leak next turn. But they can generate 2/2s without spending mana. World Spine Worm, okay. Now reanimating their Spellseeker is insane. And they know about Hull Breacher. We'll see if they want to keep looting or if they just want to make a 2/2 and apply pressure. They are going to keep looting. That also tells them I don't have Hull Breacher. Or it tells me they have interaction for Hull Breacher. Discarded Jace. I could end step Snap Scour and just try to hit a monster. Yeah, I think that's good enough to at least get some movement on this board. If they want to Mystic Confluence this, it's not a big deal. I can Mana Leak Spelljacker, Scour myself, hit Frantic Search, and Malcolm. Not what I was looking for. Ooh, Giptaxian Probe. I should not have played my land drop before I probed. If I draw a red source, I'm going to be pretty embarrassed. Your hand is Teferi, Firebolt, Tidebinder, Daze Mountain. Okay. Attack with Snapcaster. They're making a thing, and they made it off the Spellseeker. Hell yeah. We got him. Got him on the hook. Animate dead. Oh, they could stifle that with Tidebinder. That's actually really good. How do I want to do this? Yeah, I think that's still worth doing. If they don't think this is important, that's really good for me. Tidebinder is a unit, though. Or no, this costs 2. In my head, I was casting Spellseeker. This is a 2-drop. Yeah, I'm just going to get it all here. Mana Leak this. That's gone. I'm not dazable. They do get to resolve Teferi this turn. Yes, get Flash out of my deck and pass the turn. They resolve Teferi. I put 15 power into play. Oh, it could actually be a lot more than that. If I flash in Carnosaur, then I can also Exhume Carnosaur. But if I Exhume, they get Tidebinder. Exhume's really bad. Like I said, not a card we generally want to be casting in any sort of medium speed game. There's the Mountain. It's very untap some lands. Daze Firebolt, 2 unknowns. Oh, now we know everything. I can pitch this Exhume because I don't want it. Yeah, I literally don't want to cast that. My hand is all red after this, though. Okay, pitch Exhume. Teferi can tuck a worm and kind of absorb this. Yeah, this... I'm a little behind. My third color really punishing me here. Grief you. Fireball. Fireball could kill all my worms 2 turns from now. I don't care about Daze. Do I think they have a sweeper other than Fireball? Yeah, I'm actually just going to take Fireball, and if they dig, they dig. I'm just going to hope that their deck does not have a sweeper in it. I could do this sorcery speed, but we've seen counterspells. They're casting Daze. That's fine. World Spine Worm. I can't pay the additional 9. Okay, I have 15 power in play. They can tuck one of them. They can block some of them. They do have the ability to make 2/2s. This is less good than I'd like. If they're tucking, though, it means they're not digging with Teferi. If their deck plays a sweeper, but we just discarded a sweeper, and they look more Izzet than they are Jeskai. But they do have 2 white if they have like Sunfall or Wrath in their deck. They have a lot of creatures to be a Wrath deck. Unless they had the read and boarded it in. Bottom, Preordain. That's what you want to see. We also saw Brain Freeze and Jace Wielder, so we could get Breach comboed. I do have to be aware of that as a possibility. 1 unknown card in their hand right now. EI. That changes a lot of information. Yeah, that Exhume being Exhume instead of Shallow Grave or Life Death actually completely changed last turn. I don't think I would have even wormed. I think I would have Carnosaured and then re-Carnosaured. But you can't re-Carnosaur into a Tidebinder. We're really kind of up against the opponent's drafted card pool at this point because I have enough damage to win a game here, but if they have a sweeper, I don't. Also, just drawing a red source would be pretty nice. Okay, they found Mana Crypt off of that. That's additional clock. Firebolt and 2 unknowns in hand. They just plus Teferi. All right, Mana Confluence also just bounces all my worms. Yeah, they definitely have another sweeper in their deck. Duelist in the Mind's not it. An island, not what I wanted. I think I want to attack Teferi with everything. All of these attack Teferi. That's the thing digging right now. That's the onboard answer to at least one worm. It's extra power on the duelist. They just let Teferi die. Splash color killing me here. Converting currency in the end step. Knowing that their deck has a combo win is concerning right now. Oh, I can't get brain freezed though. But they have the Jace. But they can't freeze me out because I'll always get one more turn with the worm. Fiery Islet. Let's see if they emergency redraw or if they have what they want. We've seen a lot of their deck at this point. Yeah, they're still converting currency. That Mystic Confluence is horrifying to me. Yeah, I want to draw a red land or Counterspell. I'd also be comfortable with Counterspell in this environment. Or we could keep drawing islands. That's cool too. 15 damage coming your way. Okay, they just chumped some of the damage. Clearly they don't have it yet. Whatever it is. I expect to see an end-step Fiery Islet activation. There, that goes. Weird that didn't happen before they took 13 damage. Because if they find the Confluence now, they're at 7. Mana's being tapped. Haven Interrupter. Okay, just 2/2 body. Brain Freeze. Targeting who? Targeting yourself. Okay, so they might have Breach in hand. There goes Confluence. They lost the Crypt Flip. 4 is not 3, though. Okay, they are breaching. And it just resolved. I have the Worm. So we'll see. Okay, they're going for their self, though, which is the correct way to do this. Yeah, they have 9 cards in deck. Damn. Yeah, they did it. Wait. Are they short on blue mana? Oh, no, this is exactly... Where'd the other spell come from? Oh, the Breach, the Jace. Yeah, that was 3. Time Warp, Virtue of Loyalty. Okay, so their deck is... They've got Cryptic Command. Yeah, that one was a bit of a bummer. Just came a little short. Dress Down, they don't win with Oracle. They win with Jace, so Dress Down doesn't help. I think I want the Miscalculation back, knowing that combo is really how they can possibly win. Unholy Heat could kill Jace. Subtlety counters Jace. Okay, I had a bunch of answers to that in, just kind of flooded out. Barrogoyf applies pressure. I think Shallow Grave might be better than Exhume. Now that I've seen it all happen. I literally had to play a game that was worse because I had Exhume and not any other card. And then maybe I don't want Unholy Heat. I mean, they have Esper Sentinel. That card's really annoying. I think I'm going to live without Unholy Heat. If Esper Sentinel is the card they have I'm worried about, then I'm going to stop. And I could just Death and Oliphant on turn 2 here. I will keep this. It does have blue because of Volcanic Island. Yeah, I think I am just going to Death Oliphant. They've shown me Daze, but it would cost them all their permanents to do that right now. It races on. Porcelain Legionnaire. That is smaller than my creature. Don't need to Subtlety it. Subtlety Pixing Attracts is pretty free. This Counterspell, almost good. I'm going to Thought Scour myself now. There are no creatures in my graveyard for the Shallow Grave at the moment, but that Atraxa could end up there. And if they kill my Oliphant, I have another Blast in the Chamber. That doesn't block and kill Oliphant this turn. It does next turn. If I draw a blue source that leaves up Subtlety, I'm in great shape. Also, if I pitch cast Subtlety, Shallow Grave can Subtlety again. Frantic Search. Uh-oh. Uh-oh! That's really good. Do I play around Daze? I think so. Frantic Search. They could have Mana Drain. I have all the other counter spells on 2 mana. I mean, both forces are live. Emergency Converter in response. I think I like that. Oh, baby. Discard Atraxa and Swamp. Make sure I set the order, just in case it matters with Shallow Grave. Shallow Grave. Bring back Atraxa. Now I get Animate Dead. They're just scooping it. Okay, we finally just nutted someone. Good. All right, that's what the deck is built to do. But then we also have that Grixis control bit. Grind. Let's do it. On to the next round. Welcome to TopDeck.gg, your community's home for everything competitive Magic has to offer. If you're hosting an event, playing for a huge prize, or advertising your events to thousands of players, we've got you covered. Using intuitive pairing software, playing Magic is a breeze. Players just have to sign up online, then scan the QR code in store. Give competitors the gift of perfect information as their bracket updates in real time. The self-reporting software saves you time and leaves paper match slips in the past. Leave the heavy lifting to topdeck.gg so your community can relax and focus on playing Magic. I'm on the play in round number 2. I am going to keep my hand. I have access to all my colors. I have a turn 3 true name, and I get to see their hand. I just realized I recorded the entire first match on draft view, which looks like this. And now I'm back to game view. So sorry, round 1 might have looked a little sloppy, but we're back in the saddle now. Let's start by figuring out what's in their hand. Mulligan to 6, we've got... All right, we found the blue artifact deck, Retrofitter, Upheaval. Knowing the Upheaval's there helps a lot. Helps me not get BTFO'd, and I drew Miscalculation, so I can really mess with them, I hope. Retrofitter just coming down and doing stuff is pretty annoying, though. I believe I want the Volcanic Island here. Double blue matters, double black doesn't. Let's see if they're able to do anything, though. That's going to be the important part. Flash. All right. I think I want to stick this true name and then hold up counterspells. Because if they miss a land drop, this mana leak's going to be busted. And if I just hold up forever, they're not going to die. So, moment of truth right now. Can they get this relic down? They did find the land. This makes Miscalc a little worse. But if they're trying to ramp up into Upheaval, I could still squeeze them pretty good. And I'm on board now, which is important to put the pressure on the Upheaval. And if they get out of reach of the Miscalculation, I could just cycle it. I can also cast both. Like, there was some temptation there to Unholy Heat the Servo while they couldn't flip it into a Thopter. But also, it's fine. Yeah, they hit a land drop again. I'm actually going to leak this. We've got 4, 5, 6. If I don't leak this, I never leak or calc anything. And I do have exactly 6 to... Or they have exactly 6 mana. All right, well, that's good. Now they have 7 mana. And Upheaval plus Unknown in hand. Yeah, they played the Mox Opal after the Relic of Sauron that said RIP. Yeah, good call. Flash Monster? Flash Monster, okay. I actually just beat Upheaval. Now, that's messed up. Because if I just float mana, let Upheaval resolve, and then put 15 power into play, that's a game plan. And they're making another Servo. Like, I can make them tap out for Upheaval if that's even the plan. 5 in the pool. Change their mind. 7 in the pool. Big miscalculation? Or are we just floating mana for the Upheaval? 1 floating. Miscalculate that. Flash is ready to kill them. They've got 2 cards in hand. Yeah, they said RIP in the chat that I said twice. Yeah, this is a tough one to be spewed off with this stuff. They're not going to make that mistake again, though. Okay, another Servo. They said in the chat, good beats, chess versus checkers. All right, let's finish off the beats. Just block all their jerks and then kill them on the back swing. And I had the Upheaval beat anyway, but that was really funny. Okay. They do appear to be combo heavy. I didn't see any sources of constructs in their deck, but they are the type of deck that would have big constructs. Spiral, Subtlety. I didn't really see a target for Unholy Heat, and that's on the splash. Even just bringing in any blue or black cards probably better there. I also may be disrespecting Shallow Grave in my evaluation. At least in the context of this deck where I have so many hitters. And maybe I should just be trying to combo them. Yeah, I don't think I want to dress down until I see good reason for it. Knowing about Upheaval is certainly spooky, but I guess Grief is my out to that. Probe Grief. Probe sees it, doesn't stop it. I could cut Carnosaur. I'm playing Carnosaur because of the deal 3 mode, just giving it so much texture, but if the matchup's not really about dealing 3 to a creature or planeswalker, then this is my worst monster. Okay, I am going to go up Grief. This seems like a deck that if I could just knock off balance a little bit, I could close out. Okay, I like this open. Get to see their hand again. Oh, okay, Soul Ring. There's that card. Talisman. These are a lot of good cards. There's Flash. That's a good card too, though. What are the payoffs over there? Show and Tell, Displacer Kitten, Mightstone. You want to show and tell me? I mean, it'll work against this hand, but that's certainly a card to have in your deck against me. They could just draw 2 off Weakstone here, or they could stick Kitten. Yeah, draw 2 is going to be the play. It'll turn 2 5-drop. All right, yeah, making no chances around the soft permission this game. Dumping out the mana. I have the hard permission though, and I have the flash. Oh my god, please cast Show and Tell. Okay, let's see what happens here. If they do nothing, I'll flash. If they do anything, I'll probably counter it. Displacer Kitten. That card is really stupid, effed up good versus the with the Mightstone in play. And now if they follow up with Show and Tell, I'm going to roast their shit. Okay. Show and Tell in hand that if they cast, they die. Redraw. Okay, I can play the Bayou here. Okay. We are in the moment of truth. Chrome Host Seed Shark is pretty strong. It is less strong than World Spineworm. And their only card in hand is Show and Tell. I feel confident in this game because starting next turn, I'm going to have Snap Counterspell up, and they're dead in 2 hits. Flash, so good. And here's Snap Counterspell represented. They get 1 draw step to rule them all. And wake up this dope in the end step. Might as well cast Show and Tell just to get the shark, but I'm going to put in a Tali if you do it. That's actually really funny. Like, do I counter Show and Tell to make sure that they don't put in something messed up? I think I just ram a Tali. There's no way their card is better than a Tali. I don't accept it. It would have to be Portal to Phyrexia right off the top, but even that, I have a Tali trigger, cast 2 spells, and I could still Snapcaster to absorb. It's a lot of mana in the pool. Oh, did they draw the upheaval? That would have been good. But I have cheap interaction in my deck. Remember when I took Counterspell over some flashy, sexy card? Pack 2, pick 1. This is why. I untapped all the mana, changed your mind. And it's Show and Tell or whatever that was. Those are the options. We're back up to floating all the mana. Leaving 1 back for Daze. Smart. I killed the Daze last round, though. It's not in the draft anymore. All right, we're tapping mana for the 3rd time. Someday we'll figure it out. What is the card? Do I care about it? Portal to Phyrexia. That is literally the card that I shouted out as potentially an issue for me. Well, they get a 9/9. That's actually solid. But I have Snap Counter, which is a shame because Snap Flash would have been nice. That's actually sick because I would have let Show and Tell resolve and LOL'd with the Atali, but then they would have LOL'd with Portal. I would have sacked 2 Worms and Snapcaster Mage, though, and still probably just won. Okay, who's actually winning this race? I do have 1 basic mountain in the deck. If I attack with everything, they wake up the 9/9. They have to block all of the Worms. They have 3 blockers. The Worms have trample. I believe they're just dead. The 2 extra power from the Snapcaster is doing God's work here. And I'm not dead on the backswing. It's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I'm at 18. I don't believe they can survive this. Which is just basic addition and subtraction, so it's embarrassing if I'm wrong. But yeah, okay. We did it. All right, I mean, short and sweet. Just put World Spine Worm into play. Magic's easy. On to the finals. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables.
Good. All right, here we go, gang.
In this YouTube series, hosts Cedric Phillips and Patrick Sullivan take us on a set-by-set journey through the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a focused deep dive into the facts about a set's design and release, the Magic lore expressed through the cards in that set, Tournament Edition gameplay videos featuring products and Pro Tour decks of the era, an award show that shouts out the best and weirdest cards of the set, and a final grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/theresleevables. I'm on the play in the final round. This hand has all my colors, and Trumpeting Carnosaur does have the double text, but I can't actually keep this. Okay, how about turn 2 World Spine Worm? I will keep this. Keep and put... I can bottom the Bayou, because Bayou doesn't cast any of my other spells anyway. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. Bayou to the bottom. And the green is literally for the life flavor text of life death in my deck. Opponent's also on 6. Here we go. Can we just get a quick dumpster? I hope there's some like mopey creature deck that can't possibly beat 3/5/5s. Forest is a good start. Black Lotus is a bad start. That Minsk and Boo is in the draft somewhere. Essica's Chariot. Okay, I mean, I can beat that. Miscalc right on time. It's actually fine. Like, having a counterspell is nice here. I kind of want to ambush them in combat. If they play a blue source right now and represent Spell Pierce, I'm going to be pretty disappointed. We found the Lotus, though. We beat Soul Ring and Mana Crypt in this draft so far. This is the first piece of real power we're observing. They're going to attack. They're going to get a cat. I'm going to flash. They're going to hope it's not World Spine Worm, but it is. Black Lotus made 3 extra mana. I just made 9 extra mana. I'm ahead on this exchange. And I'll just block with everything in case... I don't even know if there are combat tricks in the cube, but I'm going to knock those out. Just make sure it happens. And now they have a tap land versus 15 power, and I'm holding up a counter spell. Hopefully we could convert here. All in, baby. One of these things is not like the other. We both have 3 tokens at the end of our second turn. Here we go. Now the cheap counter magic shuts the door. There we go. Don't even have to reveal the counter. All in on that, and it worked. We're against a green deck. Toxic Deluge, it's time for you to come in. You've been in the sideboard this whole time. Like I said, I was just wrong in my understanding about Shallow Grave, at least in the shell. I think it should be in. I'm going to try to find room for it. This is the first matchup that seems like it's likely to be about creatures rather than cards in hand. Deluge, definitely coming in. Subtlety looks good. Shallow Grave is just like, I think, a misbuild. So they're a deck full of creatures, and I'm a deck full of removal and counterspells, so I'm going to just switch Exhume into Shallow Grave. And then I have to make decisions about Deluge and Subtlety. Now, Hull Breacher, I didn't see them draw any cards. That could become Subtlety, and I'm not playing the Time Spiral, so there's no combo there. If I am shown to be wrong about that, we could bring it back in for game 3. And then Deluge obviously has to be somewhere. Stern Scolding, I really only saw Black Lotus and Essica's Chariot. If their deck's full of Mana Dorks, this card would be good. But I can't know that right now. I could infer it. Barrowgoyf seemed like it'll be good. True Name seems great. I'm not going to try to make room for Stern Scolding. I've mentioned Carnosaur a few times as the modality of the removal and the Reanimator. But it really is just kind of the worst card in this deck in terms of making the plan work. Yeah, I think I definitely misevaluated Shallow Grave throughout the entire drafting and deck building process, and it's really come to light in the gameplay that I want it. And then Carnosaur, it's on the edge, but is it better than Subtlety? Like, Subtlety can stop things from arriving, which is good against a Black Lotus deck. I got 30 seconds to figure this out. I want all my 2s. I could cut, like, Thought Scour if I think that Carnosaur is better. I don't like this. I feel like I'm just making a mistake here because I don't have time to figure it out, but I am going to leave the Carnosaur in. I'm not really comfortable with that decision. But bringing in the Shallow Grave means I want more creatures that put themselves in the graveyard. Okay, sideboard card. Best thing to flash. Worst thing to loot away, though, unless I have Shallow Grave, but then I'd have to loot it post-combat, or grave it post-combat, which doesn't do what I want. I'm going to keep the hand, though. Jetmir's Garden tapped. Way better than Black Lotus. If we could survive this turn without a 5-drop in play, that would be great. Urza's Saga. Didn't bring in my Dress Down. Fanatic of Jabronis. And here's the flash game plan. I'd love this Kitsa in play, but Malcolm's also a looter, and I can hold up Counterspell versus the deck that I know has Black Lotus and just played a Mana Dork. I don't care about Ignoble Hierarch. And they'll probably just leave up Saga, which lets me get Malcolm in. Malcolm will die to my Toxic Deluge basically no matter what. Okay, they're giving up on Saga to do that instead. Makes sense. Kitsa versus leave up Counterspell. I think I want to leave up Counterspell. Though Kitsa survives... Oh, they could tutor the Lotus. I'm definitely leaving up Counterspell this turn. Because Kitsa would be X4 when I Deluge. Oh, but Fanatic of Rodus is X4 as well. Okay, never mind. Just Counterspelling here. If they do something like Tutor the Lotus, play out 2 creatures, I'm in great shape. I'll just deluge that and leave Counterspell in my hand. 3 cards in their hand. I don't care about any creature here. Yep, there's that one. 6 mana still available. Please cast a creature. Oh, they had way more than that because of they have Ferocious. 4th Airlink is for 7. No, thank you. 2 cards in hand. Untap Deluge. Chillin'. Okay, let's go. Subtlety to follow it up. X equals 4. Cool. That was a good turn. They have 4th Aerolingus and Black Lotus in their deck. That is worth noting. Land number 4 eternalizes the Fanatic at minimum, which is not a thing I can interact with normally. Life Death. I could Life, or I could just hold up Subtlety. If I play Kitza and Life the Malcolm, they have 8 mana. They have 8 mana. I could still pitch Subtlety in an emergency. I could also play Kitza, save the death, and have it with my looter. But I would have 2 looters. And 2 is a larger number than 1, and I could snap Death. Yeah, okay. Death, the Malcolm, play Kitza. I have pitch Subtlety available in an emergency. Okay, here we go. And I could still snap Deluge at some point this game with another mana. Library of Alexandria with 2 cards in hand. Perfect. I think if they don't make me Subtlety here, I'm miles ahead. It's a lot of mana, though. Pest Infestation. Okay, no targets, just making 4 dudes. Or 8 dudes. 8's a lot of dudes, but snap. Deluge cleans this up. There's the mana to do that. I'm going to attack with Malcolm and then probably just snap Deluge and call it a day. Okay, attack with Malcolm. Might as well attack with Kitza. She can loot here, same as anywhere else. Nah, they'll just block, and I want to kill those anyway. I want to see what Malcolm would loot into before I make any decisions here. Malcolm loots. I don't need Mana Confluence, and I am taking extra damage from other stuff here. I'm going to dump the Confluence, and then I'm going to Kitza, discard World Spine Worm. Fable's going to be a great follow-up because I'm about to clear the board. Snapcaster, Toxic Deluge. I could leave them with their Fanatic, and I get to keep Kitza if I just X equals 1 this. That's a lot of mana to leave them with, though, but I have multiple creatures in play. I am going to go X equals... Oh, this is so tricky. It's a big decision. I'm going to go X equals 4. We will just take the medicine here. Kitza, 1 spell away from doing what I want. Graveyard order actually matters here. I want Snapcaster on top because I have Shallow Grave in my deck. They gain a bunch of life. 1 card in hand. I'm drawing Fable. Or I have Fable. Tap land. If they bin this card, I think I'm playing Fable. If they keep this card, I'm going to leave up Subtlety. That also depends on what their last card is. If they just pass here. Okay, they kept the card. Oh, that's good. I guess Subtlety, we just end in the same problem next turn. I'm gonna send here. Fable. Because Fable making the treasure also gives me True Name. What is the follow-up? I can pitch here if I need to. Sowing Mycospawn with Kicker. Congrats. That's hard to do in Cube. Okay, my Badlands is gone. And it Tutor to Caracas. That's a good card. All right, let's see what I can make happen here. Oliphant. I kind of want access to red. I think I just decline this and play True Name. Yeah, I'm going to decline. And then cycle. They might be a Wasteland deck with this Sowing Mycospawn. But triple blue is actually a spread of colors they care about. And I'm going to bet against the top deck and get on board here. Give myself a turn to fade, and then I'm way ahead holding up Subtlety. Fingers crossed. Springheart Nantuko, that's cool. Though, these are both cast triggers. They're just making more 3/3s. And I do have Delirium. Life is good. Okay, Unholy Heat this jerk, which lets me get really good attacks. Then I'm holding up Subtlety. If they have, like, Endurance, they could try to fight over this, but I just have the Subtlety for that. And starting next turn, I can copy Subtlety every turn with Reflection and just hardlock them. Okay, here we go. I am ahead. They've demonstrated their deck is very powerful, but Black Lotus, Pest Infestation, and 4th Aerolingus are all in the graveyard. It's a good place for them. Touch the Spirit Realm. Shit. My interaction doesn't interact with that. I'm losing my reflection, and they're attacking for 1. I'm not going to use Subtlety as a blocker versus this creature deck. Barrow! Yeah, that guy's a sicko. It's a 6/7. Thanks to the treasures, I actually am still holding up Subtlety. I took Barrogoyf pretty highly and was excited to see it in the draft, and this is the first time it's showing up, but it's a big time for it to show up. Mana's being tapped. They drew a spell. A big one. Winds of Abandon. Holy shit. That's a really good card for them to have right now. Well, that sucks. They are in the lead again. Okay. Winds of Abandon. Good to know. I need to draw something good real quick. Bayou's not it. I do have Frantic Search in my deck, so I'm not in a hurry to just play out extra cards. Every land cuts a turn off the clock. Or not a turn, but it adds to the board. Yeah, I gotta figure it out right now. I can hardcast Atali. I can hardcast Worm too, right? Oh, baby! Thanks for the treasures. All right. Blue, green, black, white. 1, 2, 3. Atraxa. They have Caracas, but I'll take the reload all day. Okay, we've got Frantic Search, Itali, Miscalc, Shallow Grave. I think Shallow Grave has to be my instant. Carnosaur, is it time for you to actually do your job? Carnosaur. Is Frantic Search better than Shallow Grave? I can't imagine. And Fabled Passage is the same thing, but it shuffles these good cards back into my deck. I will take Fabled Passage, Shallow Grave, Trumpeting Carnosaur. I have played a land this turn. Done. Okay. I can Shallow Grave Snapcaster, who casts Unholy Heat just to stabilize, and then hardcast Carnosaur next turn. And we'll see. They can put me to 2 here. Oh, Oliphant's on top of my graveyard, so that's actually my Shallow Grave, not Snapcaster anymore. And that's why this card is weird. However, it is still fine. They haven't Caracas yet. I'm holding up Subtlety. What do you think the chances are? They just forget they have Caracas and concede. Here at this top level of cube competition. They remembered. I can cast her again next turn, though. Okay, they would have had to draw, like, Lightning Bolt for me to get roasted here. Do I want to take out the Spring Heart and Tuco? I think I do. Because I can Shallow Grave this back next turn, get 2 spells. This actually does change the clock meaningfully. I can pitch Atraxa to Subtlety if they sandbagged a creature or planeswalker here. Generous Ent. Do I want Atraxa out of the game? And I'm in trouble otherwise, so I will put this back wherever they want to put it. Oh no, that ruins my Shallow Grave. I've made a huge mistake. Oh no. This game is falling apart and it's my own fault. Well, my opponent has run like the sun, but also that was a huge mistake, Shallow Grave betraying me. Oh no. Oh, that's bad. They can put me to 1 here, and they put Generous Ent on top. Yeah, I fucked up. I was not supposed to do that. I panicked. If I just go to 2, I can hardcast Subtlety, then hardcast the thing. Yeah, I fucked up. Bummer. Okay. We're going to get a game 3, and it is my own stupid fault that we're even doing that. I guess Shallow Grave now is as good as anything. Yeah, Subtlety that. Opponent did the sequencing correctly, so I couldn't block with Subtlety. Yeah, Winds of Abandon. That was quite a magic card. All right, Atali's in my deck. That casts 2 spells. Good draw. Animate Dead. Okay, we have another shot at the Carnosaur. Actually, I'm going to Animate Dead Snapcaster, who's going to snap Shallow Grave, targeting Carnosaur. Do they have a better creature in their graveyard? No. All right. Animate Snapcaster. They are hellbent over there. All right. Yeah, I think this gives me the most material to play with. Big draws. Animate Snapcaster. Target Shallow Grave. At 1 life, I can't life anymore. I'm going to Shallow Grave the Carnosaur into play, who will get to cast a spell if there's any 5s left in my deck. Miscalculation, no, but that ends up back in my hand where I could shuffle, or I can cycle it, which I'm going to have to do. We basically just revealed my whole deck. Cycle, miscalc. Need a removal spell or a blocker? Oh no. We're going to lose by one. One damn life point. Yeah, I made a play last turn, imagining that my opponent might not draw an insane card for one turn, but they did. And I just spewed off, and I'm going to lose for Xaxes here. I guess one thing that I didn't even discuss, because it hasn't come up yet, but is very obviously bad, is my deck's full of counter spells. Carnosaur, I mean, Discover getting to keep it is worth something. Okay, that's not as bad as I thought. Like, couldn't put a Cascade card in this deck. But Carnosaur, like, with Discover is probably fine. Okay, that was a heartbreaker. Dress Down is a card that we've now seen Urza's Saga and Fourth Aerlingus. Just knocking the haste off those buddies matters. We've seen targets for Stern Scolding. The Monarch does draw cards, but if they have the Monarch, I'm already dead. I'm on the play where all my 2-mana counterspells get better. Okay, I think I'm just going to try to send it with the package that I have in. I'm going to take a deep breath and not freak out. Shadowgrange Arcfiend. This kills creatures and gains life. This is another thing I could do. Is this better than Carnosaur? But the channel on Carnosaur, like I've been saying, matters. The madness might matter here. If I can just loot this in the middle of combat. It's an 8/4 though, it's not very big. Okay, I'm going in with the same deck. I'm on the play this time. I'll just tighten on my play. Deep breath. This hand is actually bad because it doesn't cast the counterspell. Blue is my core color. I have access to the Volcanic Island, but not quickly. I'm actually going to mulligan this. No blue again. I might go to 5. I'm not panicking yet. I have 5s that can win. Okay, here we go. Now we're cooking. All right, keep this. Bottom Frantic Search and Mana Confluence. I can flash in Carnosaur and then animate Carnosaur. All right, all in. This is 2 fast dinosaurs. Caracas, okay. I have the one thing that doesn't punish. Swamp in play. Subtlety. And I can flash Carnosaur in response to a spell they play, because I play so many counterspells I might actually hit. Saga. Okay, end step flash. Carnosaur. Can't pay the difference. Trigger. Please do something good. Frantic Search. Yeah, I'll cast that. Set up a better Animate Dead? No. Okay, so Sneak Attack and World Spine Worm don't matter here. And they end up gone. Just pass priority on my untap. I wasn't using it, but it's still a bummer. Okay, Animate Dead can get blown out by Touch the Spirit Realm. Like flickering it actually beats it. But so Death was a great draw. Come on, Carno. Fable, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. We're gaming. Okay, recouping that mulligan. I'd feel better with a blue card in hand, but I'm not going to be greedy. End step, Samwise. That will... Carnosaur can't block that because it's the Ring Bearer. It's also, I mean, it's always legendary, but Ring Bearer makes it additionally legendary. Chrome Mox, a lot of fast mana in this deck. Pitched Ignoble Hierarch. Touch the Spirit Realm confirmed. It's going to take the Carnosaur. I don't think I have any way to remove that. Kitsa. How crazy do I want to be here? There's nothing to reanimate. Urza's Saga's popping off next turn, which gets the Black Lotus. I think I do want to loot away Subtlety. Wait, I was still thinking, and I just declined. Whoops. Son of a bitch. All right, it's fine. It's fine. Attack with this. They're trading off Sam. Oh, right, Kits is a friggin' legend. Okay, I've made a mistake here. I was supposed to loot away Kitsa. Caracas just has me hard locked. I'm spiraling out. There's the Lotus. Mox Diamond. Sowing Mycospawn with Kicker. Jeez. How did they kick this? Oh, there was a mana floating from Urza's Saga? Fuck. I think I've lost. This was a really bad time to mull to 5. I can still animate Dead if they mill away something reckless, or, I don't know, somehow forget they have Caracas in play, which they didn't do last game. They didn't do this game either. I did last turn. I get this thing. Mountain, pass. They kept a card on top. I'm just finding my inner calm right now and trying not to give up. There's a lot of game left to play. I have a Reflection of Kiki-Jiki in play. It's a powerful game object. I have Animate Dead in my hand, another powerful game object. Itali. How can I get this into the graveyard? I need to draw Flash. Yeah, the kit's target non-legendary creature. Can't work around that at all. Okay, I am just going to pass here. I can pitch cast Subtlety if I need to. My Frantic Search is already cast. My looters are all legends. I don't have infinite life to work with here, but I do Flash. Yeah, Flash is the best card I could have right now, as usual. Looking for Flash before I'm dead. Oliphant. I can cycle that and get access to double blue again, but I think I'd rather have black. I have double blue off the treasure. I'm going to get Badlands. I'm leaving this Reflection back. I just have hopes and dreams to use that one day. We're almost in the Subtlety squeeze, where I could copy Subtlety every turn, if I can get it into play without evoke. They have 3 cards in hand, though. One of them is a card they kept on purpose. If they're just holding like Reprieve or Endurance, my game gets pretty rough. Don't do anything that kills me here. Eternal Witness gets back Samwise or Black Lotus. Samwise Black Lotus is a loop. All right. I think I have to Subtlety this, even though I hate it. It's once again 1 turn ahead of schedule here. And then this dies. There's no reason to copy it now. Gotta draw Flash. Flash! Shit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 away from Itali. I could Animate Dead Subtlety. I could Animate Dead Oliphant. In animating Oliphant, at least I have something. Oh shit, I was supposed to Animate Dead Oliphant pre-combat. Okay, wait, how long has that been in the graveyard? Have I been just fucking it this whole time? Okay. Animating Oliphant's actually really good, and I was supposed to do it last turn. I might have been spiraling out about this Itali and just completely forgot that I enabled my own graveyard shit. Samwise can make their creatures hard to block, and we know they're drawing Eternal Witness here. Yeah, I missed 6 damage last turn, but it also means I get more damage this turn. Winds of Abandon, that thing. And I'll respond, I'd like to have a blocker. The Winds does get me closer to Itali. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can cast Itali if I draw a land. What double black remains in the deck? Nothing really, but I do have some triple blue plays like Cantrip into something else. True Name Nemesis is a good find. Springheart and Tuco, we've seen this play before. Okay, this dies. Land off the top and I'm casting Itali and we're playing. Okay, well, let's give it a shot. I get 2 spells here. My deck's full of counter spells, unfortunately. Let's get a good one out of theirs. Delighted Halfling and Gataxian Probe. Halfling, Probe. I'll take the redraw. Fuck! Their hand is Minskin Boo. My life is pain. Am I just dead to Minskin Boo? I do have a chump right now. I can recast Itali next turn. Caracas is a really good cube card, if you hadn't heard. Okay, I have to block the Myco Spawn here. I can go to 1. Block Myco Spawn. This doesn't trample. I hope it does not. I end up at 1 here. Oh, fuck. I needed to be... I'm beside myself. I'm falling apart. I needed that 1 mana for Mana Confluence. I had to block with Reflection. Okay. This is a tough one to have on video as I misplay game 2 and then just spiral out in game 3. But high pressure situations, they do that. I dial in better when I play paper, but Magic Online, I don't know. I like Magic Online, but these high level things, it's really hard to get in that perfect brain space when I'm just like in my office surrounded by things I like and not at a Magic Hall. Opponent also ran insane for all of game 2. But their deck is also really good. Black Lotus, Chrome Mox, Mox Diamond, Caracas, hardlocked by Caracas, both games. And not a thing I can do here. There was a thing I could do, and I chose to do something else. Damn. Itali would have hit Atraxa, Jesus Christ. All right, we're not talking about that. That concludes my Vegas run for this week, and I don't deserve it, honestly. like perfectly straight. I think I drafted a good deck. I played 2 good rounds, and then I played 1 horrible round, and I lost to a player who played good with a great deck. This deck, as far as deck building, I do think Shallow Grave should be in the main, probably over Exhume. I think I put way too much on Carnosaur when I took it eat early and then just didn't adjust when I had 3 real monsters later. I think Toxic Deluge or Dress Down, Stern Scolding, Grief, any of those could have been a better main deck card than Carnosaur. There were a few spots where I took a card over mana fixing from my deck, and I don't regret that. I think my mana worked out fine. There was one game that I lost with 3 red cards in my hand that I couldn't cast, but we won that match. That's why we play best 2 out of 3. And coming down to a Mull to 5 versus the Nuts in the finals, that I also played bad. Just everything lined up shitty for me at the end there. I'm sure I sound in the dumps right now, which is not how I normally sound on the channel. I'm normally laughing and smiling when I lose, and I promise I'm completely fine emotionally. Just that was a tough run, a tough loss. I'm not happy with my play. It was a good draft, though, and good luck to everyone in these tournaments. I am taking next week off because I can't play the qualifier next Saturday anyway, if I were to make it. But in 2 weeks, I hope to be back in these things. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Check out the Patreon. I'll see you next time.